If I could go ahead and get your attention. Is this on?
Test 1, 2. Mine is.
I'd like to go ahead and call the school board meeting of Tuesday, June 7th, 2016 to order. We will begin our meeting with our invocation led by Father Chris Dorsey from Holy Redeemer Catholic Church, followed by our Pledge of Allegiance led by Mr. Michael Meechan from Poinciana, our National Anthem interpretive dance by Apollonia DeSandra Shea Campbell, and accompanied by our saxophone quartet of Alex Lowe, Emily Alvarado, Zach Callahan, and Ashton Ellison, with our mission statement read by Miss Cindy Shavini, principal at St. Cloud Middle School, and our translation services by Dahlia Medina. So, Father Chris, if you'd like, you all please stand.
We stand before you, Holy Father, and gather in your name. We ask you to come with us and remain with us to enlighten our hearts. Give us light and strength to know your will, to make it our own and to live it in our lives. Guide us in wisdom, support us in power. You desire justice for all. Enable us to uphold the rights of others. Do not allow us to be misled by ignorance or corrupted by fear or favor. Unite us to yourself in the bond of love, and keep us faithful to all that is true. As we gather together today, may we temper justice with love, so that all of our decisions may be pleasing to you, and earn the reward promised to good and faithful servants. By your light you have taught our hearts. In the same spirit, help us relish what is right, and rejoice in your consolation. We ask you to guide our hearts and our actions, to further the world's knowledge and all of our progress. We ask this through your name. Amen.
While Mr. Meechan's coming up, just a reminder to please silence your cell phones for end of the meeting.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let me see.
The district's mission statement is education which inspires all to their highest potential.
My name's Dalia Medina. I'm here to provide translation services. Mi nombre es Dalia Medina. Estoy aquí para proveer servicio de traducción. Gracias.
Thank you all very much, and once again, the talent in Osceola School District never fails to amaze, so it's beautiful. Board comments, Mr. Soto, would you like to start? Or?
Sure. First of all, congratulations to all of our graduates, 2016. It's a privilege to be able to share in that accomplishment and that celebration for all of our students, our young men and women who worked so hard, and also to share with the joy and the accomplishments of our staff in guiding them, through this achievement. Second thing I want to do, Board, is I want to read a letter enter into a student record. This letter, I gave a copy to the superintendent. It recognizes Mr. Dritz Eiley for his work in support of local law enforcement and of the Cowboy Closet, and to recognize his achievement of the Eagle Scout rank. I have few more pleasant duties than recognizing achievement in our young people. Until today, I knew little about the nature of the title Eagle Scout. The list of Eagles rings down our history like the Declaration of Independence, from the first man to walk on the moon to Sam Walton. Forget about the Ivy League or the who's who. Eagles are the very best our society can produce, and now Dritz have joined their ranks. Osceola County is a better place for Dritz living here, and whatever triumphs and troubles he meets, he has proved that he has the guts to overcome the bad ones and the humility to not let the good ones go to his head. One other reminder for us, many of our children have had a full belly due to his Eagle Project. It doesn't get much better than that. So on behalf of the residents of Osceola County, Mr. Dritz, you have my sincere appreciation. Well done. Thank you, Board, for indulging me.
Thank you. Mr. Reed?
I'll try to be as brief as possible. The day after we had our last meeting, a couple weeks ago, Ryan Adams, our county athletic director, he put together the coaches banquet. Wanted to thank the Silver Spurs Rodeo Club for providing the venue and also providing the meal. The cooks were outstanding.
Wonderful.
Because they happened to be Clarence and I. No, I think we did an outstanding job cooking steaks and eating steaks, Clarence. No, but I wanted to thank Ryan, his crew. I wanted to thank all the coaches for everything they do, going above and beyond for our kids. And I know how important some of my coaches were to me, so I know the impact that they can have on some of our students' lives. Wanted to congratulate the Harmony FFA. They had their end of the year banquet. They invited me to come. I wanted to thank you guys for doing that. Congratulations to our graduates, but thank you to the folks that put together those graduations, because they worked very, very hard. All the logistics that go into that, having 3 a day and in and out, and some at other schools and some at other places, and but they did an outstanding job. I got the privilege to be at St. Cloud and Harmony's graduation, and they did an outstanding job, so thank you. And school's almost out. Have a safe summer, and congratulations to all our kids moving up. So.
Chairman? Mr. Weisshauer?
Yeah, I'll repeat what Mr. Soto and Mr. Booth said regarding graduations, and I'll keep it brief because so much has already been said, but it's a great honor to be a part of that. It's a great time to celebrate our student success, and it's certainly appreciated all the hard work that goes into making sure that those are pulled off every year. Also, we had the opportunity, and I don't think I got the comment because of what I was dealing with at the last board meeting, but we had the retiree banquet and the 25-year employee banquet as well, and that was a real honor and pleasure, as always, to be there and to recognize so many people who have been so dedicated to our community, to our students, and to our schools. And so it's always one of the highlights of the year for me. I do want to, once again, Sarah, I told you privately just a few moments ago, but I want to recognize our finance department and how good of a job you guys did on pulling together the budget, the presentation, as well as all the hard work that I know that you're doing to work to honor where the superintendent and the school board are looking to take this school district. So your work is extremely important. The taxpayers make a significant investment in education in Osceola County, and you have a very large task and job of making sure that all those dollars are accounted for and allocated properly. So I want you to know that this board and I in particular certainly appreciate you. The last comment that I would make is, again, for all of our teachers and staff throughout the district. We're happy that we're coming to the conclusion of another school year. It's our sincere hope that it's a school year that you look back and reflect upon and recognize the difference you've made in so many children's lives, the difference you make in the life of our community. We certainly hope those that have the summer off enjoy the summer. We know it's a little shorter this year, but that you enjoy your summer, that you refresh, you relax, you remind yourself of why you entered the education profession in the first place. And really, I think if we all sat down and had an honest conversation, we'd agree that's because you care about kids and you care about the importance of their education, and you understand the difference that education can make for them, their family, and for our community. And so I hope you refresh over the summer. You know that this board appreciates you, and we look forward to working with you again in the upcoming school year. With that, Chairman, I'll yield the floor back.
Okay. Dr. Pace, I'll go if you don't mind. And
Sure.
First off, Dr. Rasmus, welcome to your first board meeting, I believe, in Osceola County. Is this your second day here?
No, I started last Wednesday,
Wednesday,
June
okay.
1st.
So 5 whole days in. Congratulations and welcome. Mr. Wheeler had another commitment and had to depart for a little bit. He may be back, but he asked me to express his congratulations to all the graduates from Osceola County School District. And I will tack mine on with everybody else's on that. So it was a great event. It's a long event. Staff works very hard to sit through and prepare for 10 or 11 of them, 12.
11 as of last night.
11.
Mr. Soto and I attended every one.
I counted 45 according to Mike.
So I don't know how many thousands of kids, but it's a big task and greatly appreciated. As I was sitting here listening to the national anthem and watching the dancers, it kind of reminded me of something I think it was Mr. Booth had said during graduation. The talent of the students in Osceola County, not in just performing arts, but in some of the technical programs and competitions they go to, the athletic competitions, is absolutely amazing because it's changed from, I guess we have 61,000 kids in the school district. When I graduated, there were about 20,000 people in the county. So that means there must have been 2,000 students, and when somebody said a student was going to sing, everybody went, ugh. So it's a lot different now when you go, wow, I can't wait to see this. So it's awesome. So we're fortunate enough at each board meeting to see something very special. So tonight was no different. With that, Dr. Pace?
Just a couple of things that I would add. Again, the graduations were phenomenal, and we do thank the staff and the board for being a part of that and congratulate all of our 2016 graduates. Did want to share that a week ago I had the privilege of spending a few minutes over at Boggy Creek Elementary School with our 4-year-olds in the VPK program demonstrating their skill with strings. The small violins with their teacher from Walt Disney World, and it is absolutely amazing what those young people are learning to do. And the dividends that we've learned that it pays in their ability to read and their ability to follow directions, just long-term benefits, as well as an introduction to culture and to music that they might not otherwise get to experience. So I want to thank Ms. Famey, Ms. Haas, and the rest of the team for the work that they do to make those kinds of things happen. If you're not aware, we have VPK strings programs at Boggy Creek, at Chambers Park, and also at Central Avenue. And it's something that we believe in very, very strongly. And finally, I had the opportunity today to stop by the Elementary Math and Science Olympiad competition over at Osceola County School for the Arts. The elementary curriculum department has done a fantastic job. Our coaches and principals were there to support the children, and a lot of parents involved with students demonstrating skills and having fun in math and science learning activities. Really, really exciting. There were a number of school winners, both at the team and the championship level, but the overall Olympiad winner went to Pleasant Hill Elementary School. So congratulations to the Pleasant Hill Elementary School team. And I'll yield to the floor.
Okay. 1 second here. That brings us to our presentations. Excuse me, our first presentation is student recognition for first robotics competition. Who is that, you, Dr. Akes?
Yes, sir. I'd like to ask Ms. Belinda Pinkston to step forward, the Executive Director for CTE and STEM.
Thank you, Dr. Akes. Good evening, Board and Dr. Pace. We are recognizing students who participated in the first robotics competition back in April. Osceola's team 1065 came in first place in their division. And the team is made up of students who attend Osceola High School, Harmony High School, St. Cloud High School, the Professional and Technical High School, and Gateway High School. And they were able to build their robot in the engineering lab at Osceola High School. Their instructor and coach is Mr. Roger Johnston, and I would like to ask Mr. Johnson and Dr. Das Sowry from our CTE department to come forward to help in recognizing the students this evening.
Thank you, Mrs. Pinkston, and good evening, everyone. I'm Das Sowry, one of the resource specialists at the CTE and the STEM area.
And I'm Roger Johnston. I teach the Pre-Engineering Academy Project Lead the Way at Osceola High School. So it's my shop area that gets used to build this robot. And the young people you're going to see, plus a lot of others, spent a lot of Saturdays of their own time and doing this thing.
I'm very proud to be part of this STEM initiative at Osceola High Schools and the Osceola School District. At this time, I also want to recognize the industry sponsors who contributed the Osceola High School robotics team financially and also providing the mentorship. Let me call the company names: Lockheed Martin, Walt Disney World, and New Win 2C, Columbia Soft, Bright House, Kissimmee Bay Rotary, Entech Creative, Florida Coachworks, and Fluid Power Society of Central Florida. There are a lot of engineers came from Lockheed Martin and Walt Disney World. At this time, I want to recognize some of the names who almost work on a daily basis in the 3 months of the competition preparation. And during the competition, they also travel with the students to the competitions. And they are Mr. Fu Nguyen, Walt Disney World, Wilfredo Sotomayor, Walt Disney World, Arnaldo Patelli, Walt Disney World, Elian Atencio, Lockheed Martin, Elizabeth Nguyen, Walt Disney World, and Alex Panak, Rockwell Dixon. With my pleasure, now I'm introducing the team members of 1065, First Robotics of Osceola High School. Let's call the names, right? Ready? Mm-hmm. Okay, you can stand next to Kevin Balastugui, Brooke Shendok, Jose Serrano Bernard, Christopher Zaig, Brian Zolo. All these students are from Osceola High School. Now Jessica Hausman from Paths, Chase Shandak from Paths, Daniel Patton from Paths, and Jake Carver from Harmony High School. Thank you. And they have a little demonstration of the robots they carried to the competition.
They kind of have to see where they're driving. So give them just a second. Or else we take out a row of people. And you have to flip a coin to see which side was going to get hit. when they're done. One of the things they have to prepare for this is talking to judges in all competitions, and they aren't just uninformed judges, they're engineers.
You don't want us asking questions.
I already warned him. I said, well, they don't really know anything. The engineers know that to ask you questions that are more demanding. So
Yeah, we'd be
it'll
like,
a
why
whole lot
blue?
easier to answer your questions. Doesn't want to connect. Because distance shouldn't be the issue. I don't know.
You got first in your division, right?
All right, yes, pretend it's driving.
Probably didn't encourage any of these technical difficulties there.
During competition, no.
We just took it off of the competition mode yesterday. It should have connected.
It's on some of them.
Right? It's already on vacation.
Maybe you could explain the process for designing your first robot.
Well, what they do, every year in January, we get a different task. So this robot was built in a 6-week period. This game was different than last year's game, so we had to build a new robot from scratch. They show us on a Saturday, they call it a kickoff. They show us what the task that year is, what game we have to play, and then we get 6 weeks to build this robot, and then it has to be bagged and tagged, and we're not allowed to touch it until we go to competition. So this is probably one of the smallest robots we've built. They're usually about 5 feet tall. This one had to go under some really low obstacles. So our big challenge this year was to get all that electronics and all these moving things compacted so that they could go under a 13-inch bar. So it'll pass underneath that, and then for our shooter, if it would work here, the shooter pops up. It takes a ball in the front. We thought about the low ceilings in here, and probably wasn't the best idea to bring a ball in here and start shooting it, because you might be missing some lights when we were done. So
Right in here.
the roller's on the front. They can drive over a ball. It pulls it into the front. Then when they're ready to shoot, this flips up. There's a wheel in there that how many RPMs does it spin?
Oh, only like 5400.
Yeah, like 5,400 RPMs.
Only.
It sounds like a big weed eater when it's running, and you may or may not get to hear that in a second. We don't want to take up everybody else's time. But then, and it shoots a ball that's about this, a little smaller than a basketball. And the goal this year was to shoot it through holes in a castle-like structure. It was kind of like capturing the other team's castle by putting enough balls in there. Plus there were obstacles to go over, under, over, everything else. It was a really rough game. And part of the reason why we were as successful as we were was because we built a tough little robot that was able to survive our big matches. And a lot of robots weren't running at the end, and we were still going.
Where was the competition?
We went first to UCF, the Central Orlando Regional. At UCF, we finished in the top 10 there. We made some changes, took a few notes, made some tweaks in our shooter. Then we went to South Florida, to West Palm Beach, and South Florida Regional. And we, after seeding rounds, we were third. We went into it as the third alliance, and then we were able to win. We were able to win third place. It's like really powerful. That the light is to help our drivers zero in on their target. So that is their targeting system.
Pointed at Mr. Booth.
There's 2 cameras. They have a camera to see the ball on the floor because there were obstacles, and he would be on it. The robot would be on the other side of the obstacle. And then there's a second camera that looks up at the goal. But with that light, he was able to see it out. the ball on board, there's indicator lights also for the driver, so he can see that the ball is loaded properly and he doesn't have to like unload it and load it back
We're going to get a picture with y'all with the superintendent and the board chair. As the board chair and superintendent are making their way down here, we're looking at the strategic plan for this coming year. And the next 3 years, you're going to see an expansion of Project Lead the Way and robotics competitions within the school district. We're really excited about this team because it is a cross district and it actually starts that seed for what we're trying to do.
If anyone wants photos, come as close as you need to so you get a good picture.
Yep, come on up.
I had the opportunity to see you guys early morning. There should be a picture, not me, I was talking. It was awesome, very good. Congratulations.
Thank y'all again for being here.
Or, I don't know, can you drive it out? Okay, he'll drive it out. Now that it's actually.
Clear the way.
No.
Thank you very much. Now you see what I'm talking about, the talent in Osceola County school students. It's pretty amazing stuff. Next on our agenda is the recognition of the winners of the 2016 Annual Battle of the Books.
Good evening, Board. I'm Scott Clark, the Director of Media Instructional Technology, and this is Michelle Jarrett. She is the Supervisor of the Media Specialist within the district. And we are going to announce the winners and have them come up, and hopefully we can get a picture with each of the groups with the Superintendent and the Chairman. The Osceola County School Librarians Association and the Media Instructional Technology Department of School District of Osceola County would like to recognize the following teams who excelled in the 8th Annual Battle of the Books competition. Teams were asked a variety of questions from the 15 Sunshine State Young Reader Award books nominated by the Florida Association for Media and Education and the Florida Department of Education. The Osceola County Battle of the Books was attended by 48 school-level teams and 60 different coaches, over 50 volunteers, and countless parents. Chairpersons of the 8th Annual Battle of the Books were Media Specialist Joyce Myers from Lakeview Elementary and Tanya Gallant, I never say it right. Gallant, thank you. Thacker Avenue Elementary School for International Studies. And we are going to go ahead and announce the third, second, and first in each group. And in high school, our third place was Gateway High School. Second place was Harmony High School. And first place for this year for Battle of the Books, and I'm going to ask the coach to come up, Miss Brenda Allen from Celebration High School was the winning school. And with her is her team, and I'm actually going to let her introduce her team that may be here tonight.
What appears to be an honor for me is actually difficult names to pronounce.
It's an honor. You stop.
Well, I'd like to introduce my team because it was such bad weather and we are kind of far away in the county. I've brought a picture of us with our banner. But I do want to introduce my one lone person who weathered all this, Yamna. Okay, this is Yamna Adelative, and she was our freshman, our only freshman on our team. So I know that bodes well for the future. And we had Amaline Treby, we had Brittany Burton, and Shalina Patel, and senior Angelica Oberlander, who graduated. So thank you all very much.
The superintendent, anybody? And Chairman, whoever wants to come.
Do you want me to use your
I can
phone?
take one for you.
I'm a media specialist. I got this.
Okay,
Got it.
Dana. All right, great. Congratulations. Now we'll go ahead and recognize our middle schools. In third place this year for middle schools was Neptune Middle School. In second place was Narcoossee Middle School. And our winning school for this year was from St. Cloud Middle School with Coach Heather Veralt, media specialist.
I will let you introduce your teams. It really is an honor.
Yes. It definitely is an honor. I am super proud because this is actually a pretty young team. They were with me last year as sixth graders, and now they're seventh graders, so I get them again hopefully next year. Where am I at? Okay, captain is Sarah Swim. Kanaya Richardson couldn't be here. Gabby Chen. Emily Harris couldn't be here, and then Aiden Cordum.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Prominent location.
Each of the schools this year were given the banners so they could hang those at their school as well to show their recognition. All right, and now we don't want to miss out, but we're going to also announce the elementary schools. For third place this year was Mill Creek Elementary School. Second place was Reedy Creek Elementary School. And in first place, being coached by Cheryl Davis, their media specialist, is Narcoossee Elementary School, and she'll announce her team members.
You guys wear your shirts. That's awesome. You want me to take that? Oh, sure. I got this. No problem. Do you have a code on it or anything? Oh, wait. You have a fancy one. I only have an iPhone.
This team has amazed me, especially with their.
We got like secret things on it, man. Yep. Okay, the secret codes. Wait, that's. No, you want me to take a selfie? Yeah. Awesome. I'm so confused. You're gonna go home with all kinds of pictures of Mrs. Jarrett. It's gonna be amazing. Who's that crazy lady?
This team worked so well together. I'd like to introduce Evan Cassidy, Emma Ebert, Josie Jenkins, our captain, Summer Fisher, and Sam Riley.
Good job, guys. Oh, you want your phone back? Got it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right, next I'm going to pass this over to Ms. Jarrett. We're going to be recognizing our Media Specialists of the Year for elementary and also secondary.
I used to stand before everyone talking about how great a media specialist job is, but I have to say that being the media supervisor is even better because I get to work with all of our school libraries. And we have one of the few counties in the state that has a certified school librarian in every one of our 47 schools, which is a really big deal. The Osceola County School Librarians Association and their Literacy Partner Scholastic Book Fairs proudly announces the 2016 Elementary and Secondary Media Specialists of the Year. Nominees proceed through a rigorous portfolio and evaluation process consisting of letters of recommendation, concrete evidence of effective library programming, and a personal narrative essay. And I know there's lots of judges in the room. I'd like to say we know how hard you all worked because that was a lot of packets. So thank you. And there was also a committee of numerous community and school district employees as part of that. And so they have chosen, and I'm going to let actually the 2015 winners, Kat Gordon and Jen Glasheen, announce our winners, and we're going to have plaques for them.
Oh my goodness, you're so Hi. I'm Jen Glasheen. I'm at Eastlake Elementary School. It was such a huge honor to serve as the 2015 Media Specialist of the Year. The application process that we have submitted and that the winners tonight have submitted is not only rigorous, but it's really reflective in nature. And as educators, we all know how important reflecting on our positions and what we're doing right, not only right, but what we're doing wrong, is a big part of our job. So getting that opportunity was amazing. I'm going to ramble because I get super nervous. So I'm just going to go ahead and read about our elementary winner this year. Our nominee and winner for elementary is Joanne Nelson from Central Avenue Elementary School. She has been in the school system for 20 years now. She started as an ESE pre-K one-on-one assistant. From there, she worked her way into first grade and as a media assistant. She became a computer tech at Pleasant Hill, where she got to be a huge part of the operation of the Media Center again, which encouraged her to obtain her media certification. She's been a media specialist now for 5 years and loves every part of her job. The job of teaching is very rewarding to her, and she hopes to continue teaching the students and teachers as much as she can, as so many changes are thrust upon us, especially in the technological world. And Joanne is actually going to be serving a new position next year at Discovery Intermediate. So yay! Congratulations.
You're going to read for me and then I'll present that.
Sure. Okay, so Kat Gordon was our secondary for 2015, so we're going to announce our 2016 Secondary Media Specialist of the Year, Ms. Ashley Cornett from Parkway Middle School. Ashley has been an educator in Osceola County since 2001. She's the current librarian at Parkway, as stated, but she started her career in education as a first and second grade teacher. She served as president of the Osceola County School Librarians Association. She's chaired the Battle of the Books for several years, and she currently sits on the Sunshine State Young Readers Award Committee and the FAME Conference Committee, and she was just elected as an officer with the FAME Committee as secretary for the Florida Association of Media and Education. So, Ashley, congratulations.
Right. So on behalf of the media specialists in Osceola County, which is such a great honor, I enjoyed wearing the crown this year and last year. Jen, and what they forget to tell you is that when you win, you automatically become chair and vice chair. So Jen was the chair, and I was pretty much the vice chair. But I also wanted to salute the judges, and I think we asked Donna to recognize them tonight for us, and I think she will be doing that because that was a job that was unbelievable. But this is a hardworking media specialist. And as a matter of fact, working with Mr. Clark, working with Michelle, and working with all of the other librarians that we worked with in the past, we want to give just thanks to Karen Pruitt and her group that came up with this idea and wanted to honor the librarians because we do work hard and we love what we do. So Ashley, Michelle, we love you, and we're glad you're our new supervisor. Mr. Clark, we really love you. We're going to really get you trained well. And then we'll leave you, okay? But I really want to just thank this lady, Ashley Cornett. Will you please come forward? We want to present this to you on behalf of all of the secondary librarians in Osceola County. We love you.
You guys are beautiful. There you go.
No, I'm talking to Ashley. Sorry, I'm very
And bossy.
Yes.
I need one more. Sorry, one more. Sorry. Jen. Sorry.
Congratulations. That will bring us to the 2016 Minorities in Government Finance Scholarship.
Good evening, school board members, superintendent, and staff. I'm very excited to share with you all tonight a national award received by one of our very own. The 2016 recipient of the Government Finance Officers Association's $8,000 Minorities in Government Finance Scholarship is Angela G. Barner. Angela, if you want to come up. Angela is currently a senior accountant with the School District of Osceola County. Her duties include assisting with the district's accounting operations, administering the capital leasing program, assisting in the preparation of official statements for capital financings, and monitoring the district's long-term debt. Angela has also prepared sections of the district's comprehensive annual financial report. She will graduate in the spring of 2017 with a Master's of Science degree in accounting from the Keller Graduate School of Management at DeVry University. This scholarship will assist her in funding the completion of her master's program. Angela's goals also include becoming a certified public accountant and certified government finance officer. In addition to the $8,000 scholarship, the Government Finance Officers Association also awarded Angela with an all-expense-paid trip to their annual conference, which was held 2 weeks ago in Toronto, Canada. We are extremely proud of Angela and very lucky to have her here serving our community. Please join me in congratulating her on this award and recognizing her significant achievement.
Can she figure out how to get rid of some of our long-term debt?
I'm working on it. Paying it off.
Congratulations. Great job. Great job. Dr. Pace, you have some appointments and transfers?
I do. It is my pleasure this evening to bring a couple of administrative appointments and transfers to the board for approval. We'll start with Point Siena High School. Mr. Stephen Durago, would you come to the podium, please? I am pleased tonight to recommend Stephen Durago, currently the Dean of Students, the LRS at Osceola High School, to assume the position of Assistant Principal at Point Siena High School, 12 months.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Mr. Weissier, with a second by Mr. Soto. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries 4-0. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
He shared a little bit about Mr. Durago. He began his career as a student intervention coordinator at Lake Alfred Middle School in Polk County, but then saw the light and came to Osceola. As a teacher at Highlands Elementary School, at Neptune Elementary School, Dean of Students at St. Cloud High, and then Dean of Students in the LRS at Osceola High School. He received his bachelor's degree in physical education from Keene State College in New Hampshire and his master's degree in educational administration from Grand Canyon University. Stephen, if you'd like to say a few words or introduce family or friends that are here with you tonight.
I'd like to bring up my wife and daughter, if possible. And she's been very quiet during the whole meeting. I'm very proud of her right now.
How about your wife?
Oh my God, you don't know me, but that's so funny because it fits.
This is my beautiful wife, Miss Jennifer Sherlock, and this is my daughter, Elizabeth Grace Durago. I just wanted to start off by thanking my wife, because not only is she an amazing elementary teacher at Neptune Elementary School in Osceola, and an amazing mother, but she's been my right hand through this whole educational process. And when I got my national board certifications, when I finished my master's, and I went through all the ups and downs of going through positions to try to get to this point. So, Jennifer, I love you. Thank you. I would also like to recognize some people that really helped me on my journey, and I'll be forthcoming and fast. Number one, the principal that hired me is here, Miss Linda Harwood. Thank you for hiring me, Linda, in the year 2000. And then, of course, I'd like to really, from the bottom of my heart, thank the administration from Osceola High School and the assistant principals, Andrew Cadillac Jackson, Ms. Kirsten White, Ms. Christina Remy, and of course, the most important, Mr. Edward Jones, for mentoring me and making me a better educational leader to be prepared for this position. So, Mr. Jones, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, Ms. Remy and Ms. White. I really appreciate all your leadership. And then finally, I'd like to thank my new boss, Mr. Michael Meacham from Point Siena High School, for giving me the opportunity. I'd like to thank Dr. Pace, Dr. Fritz, and Dr. Akes. It was a very intimidating interview, but I survived, so I'm very happy. Thank you for the opportunity, and let me tell you, I'm so excited to get started, Mr. Meacham. We're going to graduate our kids college and career ready, and I'm looking forward to the challenges, and let's go Eagles. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Dr. Pace, is there any chance you can find people with a little bit of energy? just by chance, right?
I tried to scare it out of him, but you know.
We want those interviews to be scary, by the way, so I'm glad to hear they were. Congratulations.
Very nice. Congratulations.
Board, I'd also like to recommend as a transfer Dr. Nicole Berta to assistant principal at St. Cloud Middle from Reedy Creek Elementary School. Dr. Berta?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Booth, a second by Mr. Weishauer to approve. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries 4-0. Congratulations.
Thank you. Just to give you a little bit of background, Dr. Berta has held the following positions. She has been a French instructor at the University of South Florida, French instructor at the University of Central Florida, adjunct instructor of French and Humanities at Valencia, and French teacher at Osceola High School. In addition, she's been an adjunct instructor of humanities for the University of Phoenix, a French teacher at Parkway Middle, adjunct instructor of French for Eastern Florida State College, dean of students at St. Cloud Middle, and assistant principal at Reedy Creek Elementary School. She received her bachelor's degree in French from the University of Central Florida, a master's degree in French literature from the University of South Florida, and a Doctor of Education degree in Educational Administration from Bethel University. Welcome, Dr. Berta, if you'd like to say a few words.
I appreciate having the opportunity to return back to St. Cloud Middle School. I've enjoyed my time at Reedy Creek. It's a wonderful place, and I appreciate Mrs. Godin and Mrs. Shavini. They're both here, and my family is here as well. My husband and my two daughters, they attend Harmony Community School.
Well, congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I have two other administrative recommendations to bring for your approval. We can do those as a lump sum if you'd like. Neither individual could be here with us. But Sandy Lockery has requested a transfer to Hickory Tree Elementary School as assistant principal from her current position at Flora Ridge Elementary School. And Sarah Wolf, assistant principal at Liberty High School, has requested a personal leave of absence for the 2016-17 school year.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Weishauer with a second by Mr. Booth to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
All right, that will bring us to our public comment, and I have one person who's requested to speak to us. Ms. Jackson, would you like to?
April Jackson, 722 Mabott Street, Kissimmee, Florida. Tammy told me it rhymes with rabbit, so I'll remember. President of Osceola County Education Association. First of all, I'd like to thank all the teachers and paraprofessionals, custodians, bus drivers for a wonderful school year. It's almost over. We can do this. 2 more days. We can do this. Second of all, our teachers have been asking for a while if I would track the number of extra hours that they put in after every workday. So I put a survey online, and we had roughly 390 teachers out of 3,500 respond, which is a pretty good, that's 10%. So what I did is I took all the hours that they put in there, I did it in an Excel spreadsheet, I averaged the hours, because some did as many as 30 hours, some as few as 2. And I came up with an average of 13.16 hours.
Is that per week
A week. That every teacher donates for their students to be successful. Now, that might not seem like a lot, but I also did the math further. You know, I'm a reading teacher, so I do the math. If we took the basic beginning teacher salary and multiplied it by that 13 hours, that would be almost $360 a week that they are giving to the school district. Do the math further, and it would end up per week, if we did every teacher, would be $99,000 a week that's being donated by the teachers in Osceola County. And I think we need to recognize the teachers and the paraprofessionals that are giving so much extra time above what is their normal workday. Their workday is 7.5 hours, and they are willingly giving all this extra time so that their students in the classrooms are successful. And it's just not the teachers, the paraprofessionals are donating their time as well. And I wanted to recognize and thank them for all the extra time and effort that they put forth to the teachers, each and every day in Osceola County schools. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to recess the meeting to adjourn our public hearing on our rules, school board rules. I will turn it over to Mr. Boyd.
Good evening, board members. We bring to you tonight one school board rule change in regards to regular rules and then several for the Code of Student Conduct and Student Progression Plan. I will summarize them in a little bit more detail than the workshop because this is a public hearing. We will be asking for board action on these changes tonight, and I will yield the podium to provide the opportunity for public comment at your direction, Mr. Chairman. Sure. First school board rule change is for Rule 5.30, Student Control. This adds paragraph 2A to clarify that upon knowledge, a teacher or paraprofessional employee to whom a student is assigned shall notify his or her supervising administrator immediately when a student assigned to the teacher or paraprofessional employee is involved in an accident on school grounds or elopes off school grounds during school hours. This also revises paragraph 3 to clarify the term private vehicles. The next series of changes are all in regards to the Code of Student Conduct. In general, they revise policy in the document to reflect recent changes in state and federal law and to provide consistency with district precedent and current practice. The first substantive change adds language based upon House Bill 7029 regarding patriotic programs and the required written notice to be published that a student has a right not to participate in reciting the pledge upon written request by his or her parent. It also provides consistency with existing language in school board rules. The next change updates the dress code policy to simplify various clothing expectations, including clarifying acceptable skirt length as mid-thigh and appropriate footwear. An additional change adds an option to the matrix of infractions and consequences for recommendation for expulsion for physical attack offense. And then there's a last change in the Code of Student Conduct recommended tonight that adds a revision in the violation of cellular/communication device statement to limit student behavior that distracts the bus driver from executing his or her duty safely. The following changes affect the student progression plan. The first change affects only the middle school student progression plan. There is an update to the immunization requirements as directed by the Florida Department of Health. The remainder of these changes affect the high school student progression plan. There's a revision of language throughout to define mastery as a letter grade of D or 60%, language to provide guidelines as to what defines a full-time student for the purposes of dual enrollment, updates the references of, to FCAT 2.0 to the Florida Standards or FSA instead throughout the document. There are updates to the graduation requirements to include new cut scores on state assessments, updates to the requirements for standard diploma-academic employment to change from 7 to 8 elective credits, and finally a change for grading to require that teachers will provide multiple attempts for students to demonstrate mastery of state standards. That's the conclusion of the recommended changes to the school board rules at this time. So we're asking per the statute that we provide an opportunity for public comment as directed by the chair, and action is requested of the board tonight.
As stated, this is a public meeting. Does anybody wish to comment on any of these rules changes as stated by Mr. Boyd? Ms. Jackson?
My only request is that when we do the children that are accidents and those that elope, that we also have it tracked at the school and at the district level, because sometimes the teachers are reporting it at the schools, but it's not being reported further to the district level administrators. And I think it's necessary so we can keep a track of the children who have a history of eloping from campus, so that when they go from one school to another, the ESE department or whoever could contact the incoming school if this child may be a possible runner. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Boyd, would you like to respond? Is that?
That is a procedural
Not part of rules?
So not part of rules, yes, sir.
Okay. Anybody else wish to address anything on here? I've got a procedural question. I'm okay with all but one piece of this. Do we vote on this thing in bulk? Can we pull a piece out? How do we do this?
You can do it item by item, or you can do it in bulk.
The one exception I have that I'd like to pull out and vote on separately is the pledge. I'm trying to find it again, John.
Yes, sir. That would be required by state statute.
I understand it is, but
Yes, sir. That's the second change under Code of Student Conduct.
can we pull that and vote on it separate, board?
Absolutely.
Okay. Doing that, can we, board, your pleasure on the rest of the items?
I make a motion to approve.
This is excluding the pledge item, correct?
Yes, excluding.
Well, we already pulled that.
Right.
So
Yep.
that's why it took-
I'll second. I'll second.
I have a motion to approve the changes as reported by Mr. Boyd with the removal of the pledge item. I have a motion by Mr. Soto and a second by Mr. Booth. Board, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries 4-0.
That was the most.
If I may be on the record, Darla Bungo, Director of Student Services, responsible for the document of the Code of Student Conduct. Just want it noted, and maybe Mr. Brown can help, there is a requirement that it's posted, and so if we have any legal ramifications from that, I just wanted it noted for the record.
Mr. Thacker, can I speak briefly? We're not on the pledge yet, though. You haven't, the pledge
No.
hasn't come up yet.
Right.
When it does come up, you should definitely.
It's coming up now.
It's up.
Yeah.
It's up now.
I just want to point out the state statute is a response to an 11th Circuit court case from about 10 years ago involving a school district in Georgia. So, you know, you've got some basis for people to challenge if someone refuses them or someone disciplines them for refusing to take the pledge. But it does require a written request from the parent, not from the student. It's not the student's request, it's the parent's request. And they have to be appropriate. You can require them to stand and to observe silence. They just don't have to say the pledge. That's what the 11th Circuit.
And that's the reason I pulled it is I understand I can't make anybody move their vocal cords. But I will tell you, I have a real problem with not standing for the pledge. And I will tell you, when I was at graduation, with each graduation, as I looked around the audience during the pledge, I saw people sitting down. And they were there because somebody was graduating. And if you just look at the FT funding, it's $6,000-7,000 a year times 13 is $70,000-80,000. Plus, we know it costs $25,000 for a classroom seat during that time is over 100. That doesn't factor in what it costs for us and to build it, some other buildings and that sort of thing. And that's all provided free of charge by living in this country. And I understand. I'm not trying to get this thing to fail. This is very personal to me, and I just kind of wanted it on the record that I have no problem if they don't want to put their hand over their heart or they don't want to say it. But I have a problem with sitting when they're getting a great deal of benefit from that. So
I just wanted to mention what the 11th Circuit case says. It says that you can't force a student to say the pledge if the parent has requested in advance that they not say the pledge. But the school district can require them to be appropriate, stand up, be respectful, and not interfere or disrupt. As far as the statutory process goes, I don't see that the rule as written would violate the statute. You know, it may not go into the graphic detail of the statute, but it doesn't expressly contradict the statute either. So, you know, maybe sometimes it's better to.
I'm not trying to spend $10 million on a lawsuit to fight it, just to be.
Nor am I.
If I might just add, the reason why, I mean, we were putting it in the code of conduct as opposed to putting some kind of signage or anything like that in every classroom. This was our notification to parents and students.
So this is it.
This is it.
And it goes to every family at the beginning of the year. The code.
We are required to send it to every family as a code of conduct each year, but this would prevent us being required to add signage to classrooms, those types of things.
Well, Board, I just wanted to say thanks for your indulgence, Mr. Weisauer.
I appreciate your say. I had, as you know, concerns last time. I still have those same concerns, and you've shared pretty much everything that I would have shared plus some, so I appreciate that. Mr. Brown, you indicated that we could still maintain the requirement that they stand, as far as you understand.
That was the 11th Circuit case. Yeah.
So I guess my comment then would be, if that's the case, could we not remove including standing from our change and just have that they don't have to participate in the reciting?
You get into this issue of how much effort and energy do you want to spend on this issue. Maybe the process would be if they don't want to stand and be appropriate, they have to leave. They leave the room for an excused period of time. I mean, I don't know what the superintendent, how she wants to handle it, because you do get into actual concerns about how do you enforce it. I can only tell you what the 11th Circuit said, that the school can force them to behave, and if they don't behave, they're disobedient, and you can sanction them for that. But that you can't force them to say the pledge.
I'm fine with that.
Let me also compliment the superintendent and staff on your response and approach to dealing with the board's concerns that were articulated at the last round of this as well. That's not lost to me what you just shared, and I want you to know I appreciate that. But, Mr. Chairman, I had the same concerns, and to be really honest with you, I didn't know where you guys were going. I was going to vote against it, and I figured that I'd be the sole vote against it, but it sounds like that may not be the case, so we probably want to talk this out. Because not having this in does create a concern for the school district. But I've got the exact same concerns, and to be really frank, it irritates me that we have to have this type of conversation as a society for all the same points that you shared earlier, Chairman.
Mr. Soto?
Yeah, just a question. So, Larry and staff, just chime in. This meets the minimum requirement, correct?
Yes.
All right.
That's how I understood it.
Yes, because it was quite long and we minimized it.
Yeah, the statute
So
appears
when you
to
look at it,
the statute appears to have added some gloss. So that's what happens when you have that game where you take a case and then you try to fit a statute to the case. They added some requirements to the statute.
so Mr. Brown, if we wanted a rule that that we post this, we could do that, correct?
That would not be unlawful.
That would not be lawful. So we're not taking that approach. We're not trying. What we're trying to do is just meet it at the most minimal to the letter of the law.
And I don't find this rule unlawful either.
Okay, all right. So, and this will make us comply with the statute, correct?
Correct.
And so, I just don't see why. Here's two things. Number one is I heard the chairman, and I understand your position. I just don't know. I mean, if we're talking about financial situation, this could be a negative financial situation for us. So on the one hand, your concerns that these students do not want to stand are benefiting from the financial contributions that we as taxpayers make. But at the same time, not approving this is also it could be a waste of resources. At least I see it that way. So
And I don't disagree with what you're saying. I hear you.
So, I'm not going to agree with you based on that. Now,
That's
on
fine.
Tim, I guess what Tim is explaining here, he has a moral objection to it. I just, on the one hand, I understand you. Young people, they learn, and we have a part of that in our school system, not just parents at home. But what morality is there enforcing someone? I think that when it comes to something like this, it's something that an individual learns, that they learn from society, from community, from their parents. And it's not something that it really means has any value for the individual that they're forced. You know, I tell you, I just don't see how forcing is actually better than. I wish everyone stood up when we do it. I like to see everyone standing up. But when I see people sitting down, I think, well, maybe their legs are hurting. Maybe there's a lot of reasons. I cannot input a moral reason as quickly as you can. And even if they do have one, that's one of the beauties of this country. That's one of the beauties of our society, is the freedoms that we have of expression, of saying, you know what, I don't feel like doing that today because there's something here that I want redress for. Something here, you know. I want this country to make me want to stand up for it, maybe. And so I don't really, I'm going to say that, you know, it's a close one as well, Tim. But again, I don't feel like forcing someone to be patriotic is real patriotism. Therefore, you know, it's, in the end, it's really come down to the fact that we're meeting the minimum. We're not putting it in every, I would not approve this as a placard in every, this is simply mailing it out once. People should become educated about it once they hear it, that they have this right. And we're complying with the laws it is. I would hope that I could convince the board to approve this rule, at least for the financial thing, to comply and to avoid any kind of financial issues legally that could arise from just, you know, like I said, something that is really not worth it at this point. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Soto. Mr. Booth?
Yeah, Mr. Soto, I appreciate your arguments. I guess one thing that I would comment on that you just said is this country needs to do something so that I'll stand up. This country doesn't have to do anything to make you stand up for it. You are this country, and you should stand up. I would say, is there any way, I think Mr. Weishauer brought this up, to remove the including standing piece and be okay? Larry?
I mean, I don't want to squabble here. And I mean, I looked at that statute and I read it to mean standing in conjunction with saying the pledge.
Okay.
I always understood the 11th Circuit Court case to mean you could force them to be respectful and if not, punish them for disobedience and disruption, okay? Like you would do any child, any student who's disrupting a public gathering, correct, at a school function. But I could take a look at that issue and get with Mr. Boyd and Ms. Bungo, but I remember the 11th Circuit Court case very well, and it was limited to standing and saying the pledge. And when I scanned the statute, I guess I was looking at it in the context of being aware of the case that it was based on, you know. And I think standing is a separate issue. That's part of being respectful to the group. But I will look. I'll look. I mean, you know, I'm sure you may feel to the contrary, but.
No, honestly, I just brought it to the board because it was required by statute. And
That's fine.
It is required, yes, I agree.
This language as written is what is required.
It's what's in statute.
That's what's in state statute.
That's what, when they changed it, that's why I brought it to your attention. Otherwise, we would not have brought it to the board's attention.
Exactly as written here.
That's how I understand it.
Yeah,
yes.
that's, well, and if I may, I think that's your understanding of what's required based upon the law, which is what you always bring to us, and that I respect that 100%. I guess my question is, could we not still honor the spirit of the law and remove the including standing, to your point, Mr. Brown?
When I read the 11th Circuit case, and maybe I was at a disadvantage when I scanned the statute, because I've been reading a lot of the new laws along with everything else, and I remember that 11th Circuit case, and they clearly said it was, you could make them behave in a respectful manner, part of that including standing up, being silent, and respectful. And so when I read the statute, I kind of quickly saw it, but I want to go back and look at it carefully, because sometimes the legislature in their, you know, in the way they do things, they could have taken that case and then made it more narrow than it needed to be, you understand, by drafting. But when I read the statute, I thought it was we couldn't require the students to stand and say the pledge in the context of saying the pledge, but it's in the context of being respectful to the group that you might be able to make that argument.
Okay.
I'll report back by email to everybody in the next couple of days. It won't take a long time.
Well, let me ask this, if I may, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Go ahead. No, go.
Dr. Pace was going to say something first.
I was just going to ask the team, if we wait until July 21st, can we still get it printed?
We print over 80,000 plus more. some English and Spanish. There's no way they'd be ready for the start of school, and that's a Florida statute that they have to have the code of conduct upon enrollment or the start of the school year. There'd be no way I could get.
That's my concern.
these
We may
printed.
look at, we could do an insert or something like that, but what I was going to suggest, gentlemen, is that over the next 3 days, we will be attending the FSBA conference, and I believe part of Friday morning is kind of a legislative update. It may be that between now and July 21st, when we come back together, Mr. Brown can do some additional research. We can do some additional research through FSBA.
June 21st or July?
June, sorry. Okay,
Does
I
that,
apologize.
Does your answer the same for June 21st?
It's still tight.
I apologize.
Well, July was no way, but
June.
It's going to be tight.
Okay, so here's my question with all that being said. From a procedural standpoint, if we voted this evening to approve this without including standing, if that was the desire of the board, we went to print, Mr. Brown, do you believe that that would satisfy our requirement? You can do some additional due diligence, and if we have to add that language back in later, we can.
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
I was looking for Tanya. Thank you.
Does that take care of what you're...
We'll absolutely do the best that we can. And I did want to share the board. I think I mentioned to maybe Mr. Weissayer over the weekend or at some point in time, I have prepared a memo on flag etiquette that we'll be reviewing at our administrative academy and make it a part of our instructional process, just to kind of make sure K through 12, we're doing some education on what is appropriate during the Pledge of Allegiance. Still doesn't mean we can require people to stand, but we can educate folks on what the general expectation is, what protocol is, what etiquette is, as it stands to respect for the flag.
And I would say we can't make them recite, but we can make them stand.
Yes, and that's kind of people do things every day that they're required to do, like move from one classroom to another. There's a lot of things that you have to do.
So just so that I'm clear for the record, and I think Tanya will need this as well, what you're suggesting is that we take out, after it says in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, strike until we get to upon written request by the parent?
Wait a minute.
No. No, we're saying just remove standing end. So reciting the Pledge of
Standing end,
Allegiance
right.
to the flag, including placement of right hand over the heart upon written request from parent. We've just removed the word standing and the word and.
Okay.
That would be,
It'll
I
take
could-
board action
I
if
could
that's what
deal
you
with
want. I'm
that.
just making sure I understood what you wanted to do.
Are you doing that in the form of a motion, Mr. Weissayer?
Mr. Brown, do you feel like that would take care of what we need for the time being?
That would, and you could also consider adding, if based on this new language, some administrators might need further guidance in the superintendent, if the superintendent believes this would be helpful, you could also add in, consistent with case law and Florida statutes, students are required to behave respectfully during the pledge, something of that.
That's getting too much, I think. If we don't have to have it, I think.
You don't have to have it.
That'll be a part of the protocol that I would use in terms of training for our
etiquette.
administrative staff. It wouldn't necessarily be what we communicate to parents and students through the
Right.
code of conduct.
Yes, the flag etiquette.
And just to be clear, I can go along with what Mr. Weissayer said right there. If you come back and say the word standing and needs to be in there, I would vote yes, because I'm not going to cost the district $1 million in defending it. I know we're legislated to do it, but if we could do that and it works and it's legit, I'm fine with it. Again, if you say you're heading down a dangerous slippery slope and you're going to get it, I would back off and vote.
I'm going to give you an honest read on this, because I'm going to look at that 11th Circuit case again. I'm going to look at the statute, and I'm going to carefully consider the issue, because I didn't know, because I wasn't here at the last meeting, I guess, when this was discussed, and now I know it's very important, and I'll look at it, and if the answer is probably should stay away from that, I'll so inform you, and I'll try to do it so you have the email tomorrow.
And I
Okay?
will tell you this, I didn't know I was going to bring it up. It's bugged me since the first reading of it, and I just haven't gotten over being bothered, so.
It's an important issue.
So a quick question, Chairman, maybe a way to deal with this too then is, so we have to get these printed, and I respect and I appreciate you bringing that up, because that's an important consideration for us to weigh through on this.
Right. Yeah, we don't want to print 80,000 units.
Yeah. Mr. Brown, do you feel like it would be okay from your perspective if we voted to approve this without the words that I mentioned. However, pending additional review from council, that if you deem that it's required by law for those words to be inserted, that the staff has the board's authority to then once again insert those words in. This way, nobody is tied up and waiting for our next board meeting, and this way, we get what we want, if that's indeed what this body decides. But if we have to go the other way because we're bound by law and what the language needs to read, the staff isn't tied up with trying to be in this quandary, and we're not having to try to reprint or do inserts.
Can we trust your opinion to give us?
Well, thank you. Yes, and I'll be very prompt with it. You know, it would be appropriate to do this. Students have the right not to participate in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, including the placement of the right hand over their hearts upon written request by their parents, or, you know, I'll let you guys get the tense right and all of that. But, and then you could add something that simply says, and would make it suitable for printing, that further directions will be included in the superintendent's procedure entitled Flag Etiquette.
I think you're calling too much attention by doing that.
Yeah, I think we're good on
So
that.
just adopt it the way it is, and I wouldn't say anything further at this point. Just
Well,
adopt it the way it
But in
is.
the motion, can we not give you the authority if when you do your research tomorrow and you say, no, case law
Yes.
says standing needs to be in
You
there.
could adopt it subject to that condition.
And if you reach that condition, your call.
I got it. I thought you were
You're
going a
in
different direction.
No, you're in Dr. Pace's call on that. I'm good with your judgment.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, you making that a motion?
Go for it.
No, you go, you do it, and I'll second it.
You know I don't want to make this motion. Calvin, you're up.
Kelvin is making it.
Well, I'm gonna make a motion to approve as written.
Well, I'll make them.
No,
It's gonna die for lack of a
but here's the
second, I
thing,
can
no,
promise
no,
you
I
that.
think that this is a good compromise. Just tell me one thing, we're not, 80,000, right, prints, we're not gonna do this twice, right?
Oh,
No, that's what we're trying
no,
to
the schools have to pay for them too.
No, we're not gonna do this twice, right, Larry?
No, we're not.
Because I know that we're gonna include that, I've already looked into this, you're gonna see that once you read the opinion, you're gonna see that standing was central to the legislative intent. So that is gonna be part of it. I just wanna make sure that we're not gonna print it twice. Because if we are, I am going to.
No, that's what we just talked about.
No, we're not
We're
gonna
gonna
print.
print it once, so all you guys wanna do is take it out right now.
Let him look.
Let him look, he'll tell you that he has to go back in, and it's gonna automatically go back in,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay, make your motion, I'll second it.
You make that motion.
I'll get the motion to approve, knowing that we're not gonna spend it twice on this.
Second.
Okay.
All right.
Is that clear enough, Tanya?
I just,
She probably needs a little more direction on the actual language.
can I restate what I think the motion is, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong? We have a motion to remove the words "standing and" from this, and upon further review by legal counsel, within the next day or two, in conjunction with consultation between our superintendent and legal counsel, if the opinion is that should be in there, it will go back in for the printing.
Second.
Mr. Thacker, if I may say, if you take out the word standing and placement, standing and, then it says placement right hand over their heart. So,
Well, they can fix the placing.
let them fix Scrivener's and.
Yeah, you can
grammar.
fix Scrivener's error and that's.
Thank you, then I'll shut up.
Okay.
I second.
Mr. Soto made the motion, and with a second by Mr. Booth. I think we've discussed this enough, but any other further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, motion carries. That was
Yeah.
4-0. Thank you. I'm sorry to beat that dead horse, but that was important to me. So, brings us to agenda modifications. Board superintendent.
I don't have any.
Attorney, anybody have any? I have one modification. I would like to pull item 16 under facilities, just for a very quick discussion. I don't have a problem with it, but I've got a question on it. And at the end of the agenda, under board member comments, I don't know if this needs to be on here, I'd like us to have a quick conversation on the Four Corners Board for some information I'd like to share.
So, consent agenda.
It would be under 6. 16 would be under 6, items removed from
16?
table and from the
Yeah,
consent agenda.
16 goes, it'd be the next item.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, then with those changes, I would make a motion to approve the agenda and consent agenda.
I have a motion by Mr. Weishauer with a second by Mr. Booth to approve the agenda by moving number 16 to items removed from the consent agenda, in addition to Four Corners Board discussion at the end. Board, any further discussion?
Nope.
Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries 4-0.
Now you got to talk about it.
Item number 16. I've just kind of got two questions or two comments on this. Clyde, was going to catch you between the two, and I didn't, but it's not hard, don't worry.
Okay.
First off, I think this is the parking lot over there, I think this is a great an arrangement between a private church and the school district. It works out very, very well for both. We get to use their parking lot. They use our auditorium for a couple things. And I wish there were more things like this going on, and it's very nice. Second issue I have, or question I guess I have, is, and I know it's a lease, and I don't know if we can do anything or not, but that thing needs a few dump truck loads of some gravel or some rock or something, or some dirt, because it is, you could take 2 steps and disappear.
We can do some
Can we
minimal
do
work
something
to
like,
it,
or
yeah,
grade it or something?
grade it, and, we may have to bring some rock in or something
Do
to
something.
stabilize it.
And even,
Yeah.
and the other thing is, it's a free-for-all parking. I don't know if anybody can figure out a way to put a rope down the middle or something, just to kind of.
Right, and I want to get with Mr. Clinch when he gets on board, but we have some ideas on one area out front of the school that was left as grass that was potential for parking, and that may be something that Mr. Fancher
That was
would
gonna be
like
my
to look
question.
at to do as well.
Okay. That's my only question. Like I said, I think this is a great partnership between the two of us, and I'd be happy.
Yeah, we try to limit the expenditures, but we'll certainly be able to do some maintenance work to make it.
Yeah, we need to get something done over there.
So I'm going to make a motion to approve this item, but I would like a quick discussion point on it.
Sure.
Second, I'll second.
Thank you.
I have a motion by Mr. Weishauer for approval with a second by Mr. Booth. Mr. Weishauer, any further discussion?
Thank you. Just the additional comment was I did get a call from a parent that was concerned about this parking lot and it not being monitored as closely as it could be or should be from the school perspective. So that just may be something in additional as we're talking about and looking at this, look at Nate's security protocols and what's going on. There was a car that backed into another student's car on the property. You may know about this. It was a little while ago, but it was brought to my attention, and I'm glad that we're talking about this tonight because it reminds me of that instance. So they're fine. It was settled. It's not a big deal, but it's back in my mind since we're talking about
Sure,
it.
Dr. Higgs and Mr. Shatera will follow up with the principal.
Thank you.
Board hearing any further discussion? None. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries 4-0. Thank you, Board. Informational agenda items. Mr. DeBoard, will you give us a quick update on the health clinic? And then after he's done, Board, we can just have a quick discussion whether we want to keep having these or move them back a little less frequently or whatever. But
Yes, sir. We had, the last time I had reported to you, I think we were up to 253 participants in a week. The week of May 23rd, we actually added a 4th provider, and during that week, we saw 347 participants. That was urgent care and primary care, the urgent care with appointments, and then we also had urgent care with walk-ins. With adding that 4th provider, we were definitely able to open up to having additional people be able to come in on a walk-in basis. So that's pretty exciting.
do you know how many have been in there in total, or did you say that and I missed it?
How many total for that week? That first week
No,
was
since it's been open. It doesn't matter. If you don't have it, that's fine.
probably close to 1,300 people have.
1,300 out of 7,000. Not too shabby.
Now, some of those would potentially be repeat visits?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely, possibly some follow-up visits as well.
Okay.
But the physical therapy, that same week of that 347, 57 of those appointments were actually in our physical therapy area. So physical therapy is
Ken, is there anything the clinic needs from the board to function better? Or, I know I'm sure they got startup pains,
Yeah.
and I got one I'm gonna bring up here in a minute. But
yeah, we're still working out some of the issues, but right now that the biggest concern was getting that fourth provider, and that has helped quite a bit. I haven't shared with you up to this point, but I wanted to just share briefly with you that as part of the visit process, they are doing a survey of each person that comes into the center as part of your appointment or right before they release you and let you go. You're handed an iPad, and there are 5 different questions on that, and you respond either 1 being the poorest response or a 5 being the best response. They cover areas like courtesy, listening to the patient, rating of care, would they recommend the center to other employees, and the wait time. Their goal is to get as many people as they possibly can to actually complete the responses, the survey, and then of those, they're shooting for 90%. They want 90% of the responses to be in that top category. So the first week or 2 weeks ago, they had 91.73% that were in the 5-point area. This last week, that was down a little bit to 87.96. Probably still having some issues with the wait times. So they're addressing those, trying to address those. When they actually get those responses pretty quickly, sometimes they can even see if there's something really low response from a patient, that they can actually kind of talk with that patient before they actually leave and find out what exactly happened that impacted their responses. So they're being proactive and trying to get that information and trying to address those situations as promptly as possible. So,
what was our busiest time of day?
7 to 10 in the morning, and like 2 to 4:30 or 5 in the afternoon was initially, before we added the additional provider, that was when they were seeing the most walk-ins. But they're booked all day long, but they were seeing a lot of people walking in, like I said, early in the morning, and then kind of mid-afternoon to the early evening, and then kind of goes off from there. But
Mr. Weiser?
First, I'll start by saying that I have had a tremendous amount of positive feedback about the Employee Health Center. Seems like every 2 or 3 days somebody grabs me and says, "This is so great, we're so appreciative." There was one staff member who grabbed me and said that there was a diagnosis that they hadn't received at their primary care. They went there, they found it. I'm getting just great feedback. That's not to say we can't improve. We can always improve. My question, though, would be, or maybe for some perspective, we talk about wait times. First of all, we would certainly agree that we want to get the highest we can on that Likert scale. But what is the expectation of wait times? And are the wait times better or worse than what we would see at our primary care? That doesn't mean that has to be our benchmark, but I think perspective is a really important part of the conversation. If people are expecting to wait 5 minutes and they're waiting 15, if they gone to their doctor and waited 20, we're beating the norm, whether it's a good norm or not, or are we just really slow and we're not doing anything compared to as good as what they would have seen with their primary care? So what is your thoughts, or what's the feedback? What are we actually realizing, if wait times is our biggest concern?
Yeah, and I don't have exactly what the wait times are, so we need that. When I saw this one, I actually got this report for last week this morning, so I really haven't had a chance to follow up with them on this one.
Okay.
So, but I can definitely look into that, and I could send everybody an email or that kind of information
and that might
to
be
share
an
that back
important
with you.
piece of our communication to the staff as well. Is you can anticipate a 15-20 minute
Right.
wait time, because again, expectations a lot of times end up deriving what people's opinions of things are, and so maybe we have an unrealistic expectation that's out there, and we're actually doing quite well, or maybe we have a perfectly acceptable expectation and we're not doing that well.
Right.
We maybe need
Well,
to communicate that as well.
One thing that I did notice in these last 2 weeks, it's interesting, the urgent care appointments that have appointments, we're still encouraging everybody to make an appointment, even though we are accepting the walk-ins. If you can, make an appointment for later this afternoon, we'll get you in. But it's really interesting. The urgent care appointments last week was 83. The urgent care walk-ins were 85. And then that was 2 weeks ago, sorry. Then last week, the week of Memorial Day, the ones with appointments were 69, and the ones without appointments that were walk-ins were 70. So I thought that was kind of interesting that those are tracking so closely. But like I said, they are still encouraging you to make an appointment, but we are able to work people in now. And so if you've got an appointment and you walk in, there may be other people that are there with an appointment, so you may, if you just walk in without making an appointment, you may end up waiting a little bit, but those people, they're trying to stick as close as possible to the people that have an appointment to their appointment time.
But I think what you're saying, Mr. Weiser, if I'm hearing you correctly, is that we perhaps can do a better job setting expectations with communication as we move forward. And that is something Ken and Lauren are pulling together a collective team. In the next couple of weeks, I have an appointment with them to sit down and really look at all of this data and talk about how we move forward to continue to improve our use of the clinic and our health services in general to our employees as we move forward. But I wanted to kind of give it a chance to get up and running. But certainly we can start communicating to employees. Even if you call 30 minutes ahead, that's better than not calling at all. You can walk in if it's an absolute emergency. Right. But if you can potentially call and say, I can be there in an hour or 2 hours, your wait time might be less.
Good.
Ken, I've got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
And I don't know what the policy is, I guess, but I've been told that if you go to your primary care physician and you get a prescription and go get blood work done, if you go to the clinic, the Florida hospital is saying we will not do it based on anybody else's prescription. Do you know if that's true or not true? Is that right or not right?
That's an issue that has come up in the clinic that we are trying to work through that right now.
Is it of your opinion they should do the work?
There's some liability issues that they're concerned about, the physicians, because the physicians in the center did not write those scripts for the blood work. And we've had some people walk in with scripts that were 6, 9, 12 months old. We've had people walk in with some very specific needs as far as the way the blood has to be drawn, the way it has to be stored before it's transferred. So there's some things that we're trying to work through, but it's definitely a problem or a concern that the physicians in the center have expressed as far as liability for them. So that it's definitely a topic that we're working on right now.
So,
go ahead, because I'm confused.
Well, I mean, if I go to so what you're saying is I go to my primary care and he says, as per your annual physical, you need to get this blood panel done. I can't go over to the health clinic and get my blood drawn then?
You got to go to Quest.
I still have to go to my
Well, initially what we were doing was we were allowing people to bring those in, but that's, like I said, that's causing some liability concerns on the part of the providers and the Florida hospital folks. So we're, like I said, we're trying to.
It says they're our partner everywhere that I look. They need to figure this one out, it seems like.
Yeah, okay. Because if you're getting blood work under the same insurance the school district has at this lab, what does it matter at our own healthcare clinic? You can't get, they can't take that. I'm struggling here.
I think
we're trying to work through it.
Work it out.
Yes, sir. Gotcha.
So, okay, thank you, Ken.
Did you want to?
Yeah, just bored. We've had him do this every meeting for a little while. You want to let him, give him a little reprieve, like once a month for a time or two, just until we're kind of going.
Yeah, once a month is good.
Okay.
And I'm glad I got an answer to that. I was fixing to take my blood work over there and get it done.
I wrote the script for you.
Yeah.
Good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. On the agenda, the board review of items submitted as policy, that's done, right? That's, okay. Just had never seen it in that part before. So board brings us to our regular agenda items.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve items A, B, and C under curriculum and instruction.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mr. Booth to approve items A, B, and C with a second by Mr. Soto. Board, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, motion carries 4-0. Brings us to human resources.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve items D, E, and F.
I'll second with discussion.
I have a motion by Mr. Booth to approve items D, E, and F with a second by Mr. Soto with some discussion. Mr. Soto?
I just had a question on D. On D, is that that position doesn't exist anywhere else in the school district? Is that like a brand?
It does not.
Okay.
No, it does not.
And no, I mean, or anything
The
similar
strange
to it,
echo.
or anything. I mean, okay. Anything you want to add about it? Just
Ms. Hollenbeck, would you like to address your field supervisor job description for a moment? Or field manager,
well, here,
I'm
just
sorry.
to be a little bit more specific, is it just seems like something that always existed, and all of a sudden now it does. Why didn't we always have it before? And how have we been doing without it for so long?
Ms. Hollenbeck's
This
been
is
working
more-
really hard.
No, and I look forward to learning something here. So this is why I don't have a problem with it. I seconded already. So I just want to.
We don't specifically have a field manager position. We have area managers, area specialists, area supervisors that have a whole group of schools. They have anywhere from 20 to 25 schools that they supervise. The field managers will only be working during the regular school year and actually be out in the field every day working with managers that actually need help with specific things. And they're below the area supervisor, and the area supervisors will be coordinating their work, trying to get more people in, helping our managers do their daily tasks, helping them with cost control, food cost control, labor controls, things like that.
Are there folks already performing these duties, and this is just a way to go ahead and just make it fair or equitable or align
No.
what they're doing?
These people will have different types of duties than the area supervisors that are out there doing some of the duties now.
So this
It'll
is
be
going this is
different.
going to alleviate a little bit from the area supervisors.
Yes,
Okay, and
helping them supervise the 20 to 25 schools they're responsible for, helping them actually manage that area.
All right. And about how many positions do you feel
Two.
like you're going to
Two.
Two in the district?
We're going to split the district in half.
Geographically or by school, or is it just
Well,
size
we're
of school?
basically two people, one on the east side of the district, one on the west side of the district.
Okay, all right.
And to help us too, like we've had a lot of cafeteria managers be out sick for long periods of time. They'll help with that, filling in for cafeteria managers, things like that the area supervisors really don't have time to do.
All right. That answers my questions. Is there anything else? That's it? All right, thanks.
I had a similar question on the fire official. Two questions, actually. One is, we're just switching a position for a position?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The second one is, when I just read the description, this is really, will keep somebody very busy at that salary range full-time?
Yes. This is in line with what our building official, it is,
Okay.
and basically what the industry did. One of the reasons we need this position, I'm like to speak on it, is in the past, Mr. Cavaney was our authority having jurisdiction for the fire side. And with his move to maintenance, that has removed him more from that area. So this will align our building and fire together under code compliance, and they will be reporting to Mr. Shatera.
Okay.
It's a good fit.
So it also provides a little bit of separation of duties between the facilities and maintenance side and our security side,
Okay.
which is, a highly recommended piece.
Okay.
The food services positions are two new positions, but they will be totally funded out of the food services operation, which continues to operate as an enterprise. These two positions are operational, but they're replacing other positions. So there's no impact on the operational budget.
Okay. Board, any further discussion on items D, E, and F? Hearing none, have a motion by Mr. Booth, second by Mr. Soto for approval, D, E, and F. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries 4-0. Brings
Mr. Chairman, I'm making a motion to approve items G through O under business and finance.
I'll second with discussion.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Booth to approve items G through O with a second by Mr. Weishauer. With discussion, Mr. Weishauer?
Thank you, sir. Ms. Hollenbeck, just as you probably are aware, we received some information from a parent or group of parents or whatever it may be that they had some concerns, particularly with the milk service at the schools. I'm going to vote in favor of the contract, but they had some concerns. If you haven't seen those emails, let me know. I'll make sure I'll send you a copy of mine. If you have, then if you'll just make sure that's addressed, particularly with there's certain things about the makeup of the product that we can't deal with, right? I mean, I understand that, but as far as making sure that the storage, the quality, the presentation of the product and all that is in line, if you'll just make sure that that's addressed for me, I'm perfectly happy with the contract. Thank you.
Mr. Booth?
Yeah, and I've had some dealings with this individual just being in the agricultural world, and these are really wonderful people, and they do an outstanding job.
Board, any further discussion? Motion for approval by Mr. Booth, second by Mr. Weishauer. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries 4-0. Brings us to facilities, item P.
Oh, I'll make a motion to approve.
P and Q?
P.
P and Q?
Can you pull Q?
No.
No?
No.
All right, Board, I make a motion to approve items P and Q as submitted.
Second the motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Soto to approve items P and Q with a second by Mr. Weishauer. Board, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries 4-0. Brings us to superintendent
Under new business.
update. Any,
Board, I'm going to make a motion to approve item R as submitted.
Chairman, are we there?
as we can be, we'll go back.
Okay, I'll second the motion.
That's okay. I have a motion by Mr. Soto, approve item R.
Hey, I just saw
With
it.
a second by Mr. White, sorry.
I saw a letter with some.
That's okay, that's fine.
Is that Jay Wiggler over there?
It's fine. Board, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, motion carries 4-0. Dr. Page.
Just a couple of things quickly, Board. I had sent an email to you previously this week suggesting that we move the July 25th workshop for
Thank you.
strategic planning to July 12th. We could do it at 2 o'clock before our budget update. Does everybody be agreeable to that? I believe so.
That's good for me. It's
Okay,
great for me
great.
because I can't do the other.
At that time, we will be in great shape to bring forward to you the goal statements that I've already submitted for your review, as well as then strategies underneath those goals that are hopefully in line with what the board set as priorities. But we'll certainly get that information to you in advance, have opportunity to go through them with you, get your feedback, so that we can move forward, with the intent of hopefully having a full strategic plan ready for your approval with the budget in August. Okay?
Quick question on
One
that.
other, yes, sir?
How far in advance do you plan to have all of that to us prior to the workshop?
Hopefully a week. It is the 4th of July holiday time right before that, so it's going to be a little tight for the team, but they are very committed and working very hard on this process. Our consultant's been in town yesterday and today, and we've done some good work.
If you don't
week
have
is good.
100%, but you got 4
Right.
out of 5 sections, get those to us.
Absolutely, will do. One other thing I just wanted to share with you, I know that as we discussed in the budget workshop, we haven't yet been able to truly address some of the board concerns about our staffing ratios in the guidance area and career and college specialist area in particular. One of the things that I've heard recurringly throughout my entry in to the district and in talking with several of you have been some concerns with our exceptional student education services, in particular the demands on our compliance specialists at the elementary level who are currently assigned to schools like 1 day a week. Dr. Fritz has done some great work with Linda Schroeder-King and her team in really looking deeply into the IDA budget. And we are going to be able to add 11 positions in that compliance specialist area at the elementary level with no impact to the operational budget. So I wanted to bring that to your awareness because we'll be announcing that to folks in the next few days. I think it will make some folks happy and, more importantly, really improve what we're able to do at the elementary level and across the district in meeting the needs of our students who deserve a little bit more support because of some exceptional student education qualifications. And finally, just wanted to remind everybody that there is some information on our website and available through our media specialist for our summer reading challenge. We are using Myon this year, online books, free, available to folks to encourage reading, and there are some competitions in place, and we really want to encourage kids, like our Battle of the Books kids, to keep on reading. So thank you.
Very good, thank you. Great. Mr. Brown, do you have anything you'd like to?
I do have some items, if I could. First of all, I need to request an executive session at the normal time at the end of next meeting. JC, Natural Guardian of BH versus School Board 2014 CA-003454, and GR, Minor, Natural Guardian of RM against the School Board 2015 CA-001344-AN, and any other pending litigation to which the school board is presently a party. If you approve this, it'll be at the next meeting in the normal way, and I'll get the notice to Tanya.
That's fine. All you need is consensus.
Yes,
okay.
Consensus,
okay.
Please. I have a couple of other.
Yeah. Aye.
Thank you very much.
We'll have food. It'll be a long day.
You got the notice this morning. We resolved 2 appellate cases. Leffert was resolved today because the time period's expired, and the Uniform Wizard case, we got to procure him affirmance without opinion, which means there's no appellate rights for them. So 2 cases resolved.
Good job.
Thank you. While I have been sitting here, I've been reading the House Bill 7029, the law of Florida that was at issue with the Pledge to the Allegiance. You have like 30 seconds you want to hear? I mean, I didn't find anything that changed my mind, frankly. Okay. It amends Statute 1003.44, which remains in place. But interestingly, the preamble to the law, it's a 160-page law with 40 sections. It's Section 39 that amends.
You read all that? Yeah.
I scanned all of it to get to the flag part.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it was a lot of scrolling on my iPad. But the preamble, which is also like 5 pages long, I did read that, and it says, in relevant part, this law amends Statute 1003.44. It requires written notice of a student's right not to participate in the Pledge of Allegiance to be included in a specific publication, which you've done, providing that a student may be excused from certain actions associated with the Pledge of Allegiance, requiring unexcused students to show full respect to the flag during the Pledge of Allegiance. So then you go on to the body of the statute. Let me very quickly get to that. I had it in 2 places so I could. Okay. The statute still remains the same. 1003.44, that the district board may adopt rules to require in all schools of the district programs of a patriotic nature and to say the Pledge of Allegiance. And I won't recite all of that. But then it says, this is the new language, each student shall be informed by written notice published in the student handbook or a similar publication pursuant to Section 1006.07 paren 2. So I think you did that with the rule language. Publishing it, the student code's enough. You don't have to publish it at each school per the express language. And then it goes on to say the student, upon written request by parent, must be excused from reciting the pledge, including standing and placing the right hand over his or her heart. So I take that to mean, and it's in a comma phrase. If you look at grammar and the way statutes are construed, it says comma, and it's already telling you you're excused from reciting the pledge, comma, including standing and placing your right hand over your heart. So I view that as one transaction. So I mean, look, you can always invite lawsuits by taking positions.
Put it in. I don't want a lawsuit.
Okay.
put it in.
I'm just one person here.
But they're just one person, but am
We
I?
gave you your legal opinion.
I think that the
so we
motion
can
we
move. Let's
made.
move on.
The motion,
Covered with that.
the motion you made, though, but I'm not going to sit here and
If it was quicker than
trump
we
the board's
anticipated.
action because I brought it up tonight.
It's going to take you a day or two,
Yeah.
not 20 minutes.
Well, that was, I mean, the motion stands.
Yeah,
So,
the
no,
motion,
we're
the
not gonna
motion,
amend
the
it
motion
or
stands.
anything.
It's corrected as,
Talk to Dr. Pace as well, but I sincerely believe if you look at this.
we're with
like-
your consensus.
Yes.
Thank you. Dr. Pace, I'll call you tomorrow.
Myself.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Wassar? I'm sorry.
I have one comment, and it's really just to say thank you, Dr. Pace. You've done an exceptional job as our superintendent. I've really enjoyed working with you. I continue to be impressed with you as our superintendent, and I'm grateful that you're at the helm of the ship. So thank you for your work. Yes, ma'am.
I have two more things. I'll do the one that's very quick first. Board, Brandon Arrington, in his role at the Center for the Arts, which I think I just called it the wrong thing, asked if, Osceola Arts, I knew I said the wrong thing, is working on a grant, and he asked if I would basically give a letter saying he's trying to roll us in a little bit with it to help him get the grant. The letter basically says that we work together and we support the arts, and we're behind them. Any issue, me signing that letter?
Sounds good.
Calvin, you okay with that?
Absolutely.
Okay. Next issue I have, might take a couple of minutes. Mr. Brown, this is, has to do with these Four Corners Charter School Board. I didn't know I was getting into that. So, what has happened recently is they've come with us with two things to sign. One of them is kind of almost a code of conduct for the board, which I don't really have a major problem with that. But they've it's like each meeting, we kind of get added things. Now we've got to be fingerprinted, we've got to do this, we've got to do that. Some of that's been done through the school board. But the one that I have a real problem with is they sent me a letter, and basically it says they will be administering some tests, and I will certify that nobody will allow that data to be used in a way it should not be used. I'm not comfortable signing anything. I don't even know who gets the data. So I'm not comfortable signing anything as the chairman of that board saying that the data will not be used in an inappropriate manner when I don't even understand who's got the data. I don't have any control over the people that have the data. So it doesn't feel that good to me. It's getting a little cumbersome. And I don't know if that was the intent of this and, or not when the way it was originally set up. You two have been on the board. Have you ever been on? You're on it. So I'm wondering should we look at the structure? This was set up because we had the debt and carried some of the stuff on the building. I talked to Mr. Brown about it. He said there's ways to accomplish the same thing through some interlocal agreements or whatever you call it. Because I feel like the 3 or 4 meetings a year that we have, I'm not that in tune to what's going on. You get a budget, and it's a little bit of control. It doesn't feel like very much control. And I don't know if any of you have that.
If I could add something to what Chairman Thacker is speaking about. The board composition has already changed. So it's little by little it's been going to what a normal charter does. And that is that they recruit their own board members. Lake County bailed out on that one already.
Well, they have the right to bail out or to appoint.
No, Polk bailed. Lake's two Lake.
No, I'm sorry, but what I mean is that the way that they're, anyone can sit on that board like the way a normal charter, as far as that is concerned. The only thing that still remains is just these mandatory positions that have to be filled by this board. And the time has come that maybe whatever rationale was in place, dictated that happen. Mm-hmm. Is that still the case, or is this something that
that's up to this board?
They could just become a regular charter like everyone else.
They could, and you could protect your debt interest and all of that, and you could contract. The governing board could contract with CS Charter Schools USA as the management company, like a regular board. It's multiple issues. It's Mr. Thacker's concern with a compliance form, and until he spoke to me, I had no idea that there were questions he had that were unanswered. So it's basic corporate governance that you don't want to be on the board of directors if you ask the officers, tell me an answer to this question, they say no. and then they say, by the way, sign a form that everything's being done properly, that's a concern. Plus, Calvin has had an issue that as elected school board members, I've previously given the opinion you don't have to give fingerprints because you're elected constitutional officers, and you serve ex officio on this board. But by the same token, as I pointed out to several people, including Four Corners, the charter statute, without distinguishing between constitutional board members who happen to serve ex officio, it requires every board member to be fingerprinted. So, you know, that's possibly, if you really were desperate to cling on to this, you know, if you were desperate to maintain the existing structure, I could negotiate language for the compliance forms that make it clear that you're exculpated because you don't know what's going on. You really aren't very much in control of what's going on, and you're relying totally on Charter Schools USA to comply with all applicable laws. We could bargain that in. With Mr. Soto, we could request an AGO or basically take the position he's a constitutional board member. He doesn't need to be fingerprinted because he serves ex officio. And then Mr. Wheeler, I think, also had the concern on ethics training. Mr. Wheeler felt like, why do we have to get ethics training as a charter board member? We're already trained as school board members.
You know, they didn't require it. They only asked me because the principal got the points and got the school certified or something through Charter Schools USA. So I did it for her.
But if we've had the state training, why would that not count?
But it wouldn't count for Charter Schools USA and the principal to have her board certified.
And I want to let you gentlemen hash this out because it's not my role.
Yeah.
See, Mr. Booth wanted to facilitate that accomplishment, and he was willing to go the extra mile. Only you can answer the question, how far are you willing to go to keep this structure? If you choose that it's time to transition, we can transition it.
I just wanted to have the discussion. See what y'all thought.
Okay. A couple things. As far as the fingerprinting thing goes, get an AGO and let's figure out what it is. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, and
No, it isn't a big deal, except that I'm not applying for a job.
I get it. Look, I get fingerprinted, feels like every 6 months of my life for the same thing with the same people. I mean, I understand the frustration with it, and I think with all of my licenses and all the things that, okay, why am I doing another round of fingerprinting when I just did it for this organization that reports to the same entity in Tallahassee? So I don't have a problem. First of all, I don't have a problem with figuring out how these variables, how elected school board members can opt out of these variables. The ethics training, the board governance training, and the fingerprinting. Because the truth of it is we have all completed all of those aspects for the most part in our existing roles sitting here. Part of the issue, though, as well, is that, remember, the charter operator and the charter as a whole and the charter board is trying to make sure that they're crossing all their T's and dotting all their I's. And so I don't fault anybody for saying, hey, look, this is what we think we're supposed to do. We're trying to be in compliance. Hey, board members, please be in compliance. For whatever that purpose is.
I'm not faulting that either.
Yeah, I'm not either. So I think for those, because those are some of those personal tension points that exist. And Mr. Brown, I think you just need to figure out what do we and what don't we have to do with that. And to me, that's all very simple. The structural component of the board, that's a completely separate conversation as far as I'm concerned. The way that it's set up and the way that we dealt with it a number of years ago was that Lake County wasn't sending board members. We were basically having 3 board members show up, which were the 3 Osceola appointees. We had a conversation with Lake. We created some flexibility in the language as well as some teeth in the language as well that said that if they didn't fulfill their obligation, that the Osceola board had the opportunity to fulfill those other 2 seats by making appointments, just like we do with VAB, BAB, and other boards that we have say or so in. I haven't been there in a year or whatever it's been now, so I don't know if Lake County's still showing up or not. Okay.
2 of them show up.
So now, as far as not feeling like as a governing board that you have the information that you need, I would simply say that just like we would say to the staff here or any board, any staff that works for any board that any of us serve on in this role or any other, they need to be accountable to the board. It's that simple. And if they're not providing the information that the board chair or board members need, then that's a conversation that the Four Corners board needs to have with that management company and with the various people that are working there, including, I think, Dr. Esposito could probably help expedite or facilitate that. I don't know that we need to throw the baby out with the bathwater by saying that we don't have to stay within our existing structure because we're upset about how it's functioning. I think, to me, it sounds more like we need to say, hey, look, this is how we operate, and CSUSA, you're the management company, you work at the pleasure of the Four Corners Board. This is what the Four Corners Board expects from you. You need to deliver. That's my general opinion. And as far as you signing whatever, I'm glad you're bringing it up, and if you're not comfortable with it, then I would say don't sign it, and you need to talk to the Charter Schools USA and tell them, I'm not comfortable, and I'm not going to sign anything until you tell me what's going on. You guys are accountable to us not us, but us as a board. Pull it together. Those are my thoughts. I just don't feel like we have to go through a whole restructure component right now, particularly if it's in reaction to things that we could probably either iron out based on direction from the Attorney General, if that's the case, and or by having the needed conversation with the management company. If downstream we say, hey, look, we just don't need it anymore, the original tent isn't required for us to continue to function, fine, let's have that conversation. I just don't know that I feel like it's there right now. And if it's based upon frustration of these other things, I think we could probably work those things out. Just my few cents, I guess.
Mr. Booth?
Mr. Brown, is it set up that we could appoint, instead of 3 of us serving on there, that we could appoint some other folks? And
It's not set up that way now, but it could be set up that way.
okay,
just
it's
like we
not
did
the now that, okay.
But it's easy to change.
Because Lake is that way, correct?
Yes.
Yes, Lake has, I think there's one board member and
Yeah,
one.
Mr. Dodd. Still.
Polk has never been a party to the actual structure, corporate structure, but Polk has
They
sent.
just have the majority of the kids.
Yeah, they just have the majority of the
By
students.
interlocal, and that could continue, and all of the students from the other 2 districts could attend by ILA notwithstanding, and the debt could be protected. So those things could be protected. But, and also, Mr. Booth, it could be changed so that the school board could appoint, and that could be a condition of the appointment. They'd get fingerprinted, they would sign the forms, et cetera.
And I can't believe Jay wouldn't do the ethics training, because he would do anything for Denise.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's what.
Okay, I just want to have the.
Yep.
I think it's good. My opinion, Mr. Thacker, is you know how to do your job, but push back and tell them you're not going to sign anything, and if you're not comfortable with it, and if that board doesn't feel like you're getting the information frequent enough, or you're meeting enough, or whatever the case might be, then I think you need to have that conversation with that management company to say, we're not going to meet 4 times a year, we're going to meet 8 times a year, and we're going to have these reporting mechanisms in place or whatever. I like the fact that the Osceola School Board has a lot of say and control over what happens at that school. I think it's a good thing, personally.
Okay.
Mr. Thacker, I did forget something for my attorney's report, if I could,
Sure.
when you get ready for it. But on
I'm
this
done
issue,
with that one, I just.
do you want me to request the AGO? I mean, is there any direction, or certainly at a minimum?
Let me have a conversation with him. I think Tim's probably right. To be perfectly honest with you, I'm not even sure to have the conversation with, so you can tell me at some point just who to call. Because that's
The attorney for
an
them,
issue.
I know the attorney for charter schools in Fort Lauderdale, Ed Poswally, and John Hague would talk to you. He's the CEO of the company. Mr. Hage, H-A-G-G-E, would talk to you. And you want me to set up a call? Or?
Sure, maybe we can do that.
Okay. I mean, I don't need to even be involved. I mean,
Yeah.
unless you want me to.
You just email me his name and number and I'll call.
Yes, sir, I'll do that. And we'll leave the other stuff. Mr. Soto will continue to take his, stand on fingerprinting out of constitutional imperative, and we'll see. Mr. Poswally already told me they can't do anything about it anyways, and Mr. Poswally said they're not.
That's what they don't understand. So
Right.
they're gonna have to learn the hard way.
Right. So, if you're ready for me, then my contract ends. I'm not going to be at the next board meeting. I'm going to Houston for some treatment, and I just needed to know what kind of a contract, if any, to put on the agenda. I sent an email this morning, 30, 60, 90-day chunks. I mean, how would you
I
like?
haven't seen your email yet, but.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
But I'm okay, I think,
You guys probably get 1,000 a day, and it's probably.
You sure, sir?
I looked around noon, but anyway.
I apologize for that if
No,
it
no,
didn't go
doesn't-
through.
I'm not worried.
Dr. Pace, did you get?
I don't know what the
It's
board-
possible that it's on my technological end,
Well, I don't know what the board thinks, but I'll just kind of give you my feeling on it. I'd like to have kind of an in-depth conversation on kind of what we want to do with legal services. I'd rather let Larry get his feet back under him, getting solid, and extend 60 days and see where you're going, 60, I'm not,
It can be terminated at any time by either party with or without cause on 30 days' notice, but you do understand, this is like turning a big ship, so
I get
there'd be
that.
a heck of a transition. I mean, 30 cases, and all that, but.
Yeah, that's why.
But I happily will present, and I'll have someone here at the next meeting, we'll have a 60-day contract if that meets your pleasure. Now, on the
It's the
retainer.
same contract, just
It'll be
extension,
exactly
right?
the same. The term will just be 60 days, renewable, and as
Yeah,
the
make the
pleasure.
retainer monthly, not,
We can divide it by 12 and just have that amount paid. Agreed?
yeah.
Okay.
Yep, I'm good.
Board?
Thank you.
All right.
And it was fun getting out tonight, I mean, I actually.
We're glad you're here. We're all
Yeah, we
glad
are
to
glad
see
you're
you.
No, thank you very much.
And see you with high energy and
Good
a
color.
little combativeness in you. We like that.
A little bit, Thank
I
you
saw
so
you
much.
lift that chair.
That's part of our mission, is to make sure we can get you a little riled at each meeting. So,
Thank you very much. Thank you.
board, anything else? If not, we will stand adjourned.
Thank you.